Once you've learned and start to use the sum function quite regularly, you'll be ready to move on and start using other mathematical functions in Excel. Probably the next most useful function is the average function. Now the average counts the sum of the total number of values in a set of cells and then divides by how many cells are in that same set. So we could actually work out the average without the average function. So I could come to my little sheet, sales, other functions. Notice we have average as a column heading, and what I'd like to work here is the average of Monday for all 8 shops. So I could just take the sum, which is there, equals the cell with the sum in, divided by 8, because there are 8 shops. And I get 7,000 as the average sale. Now that sort of works fine, except what happens when one of these shops doesn't have a value. For example, the 8,000, let's remove that. The total changes down to 48,000 and the average drops to 6. But we're actually still dividing by 8, when in theory we should be divided by 7, because there's only 7 shops returning sales. Well, that's where the average function will do that work for us. So instead of us typing in equals the sum cell divided by how many there are, we can delete that and put equals average. So as long as you know the function name, or even the start of it, because you notice the list starts to pop up here, then we're on the way. So equals average, open brackets. So the same syntax as the sum function really, it's equals, name of the function, open brackets. Once you've opened the brackets, you can then tell it the range you'd like to work out the average for. So we highlight from Monday shop 1 to Monday shop 8. And then the same as the sum function, we don't actually have to close those brackets. We can just press return and Excel will be nice and put the closed brackets on for us. Now we already know we can format to lose some of those decimal places. So let's go for a number format with 2 decimal places. If I put my value back in there, 8,000, you'll see the average changes back to the original 7,000, which is that divided by 8 to get 7,000. When we remove the 8,000, it adds up the new values, but divides by 7 because there are only 7 values in that range. It will include the 0 for shop 8 because it is a value in the cell. Even if it's nothing, it's still a value in the cell. Having done our little average, we can then do the same for the next cell to work out the next row, the next cell to work out the next row, or why don't we just copy that function? Take the little corner and drag down. And it's then working out that next cell range, the next cell range, the next cell range. So we could do the same for the column. Equals average, open brackets, highlighting for shop 1, all 7 day sales. So it's working out the average day sales for shop 1. Return, and we get an average day sale of $27,900. Again, we can take the little cross and drag that all the way to shop 8 to work out the daily average for each shop. So that's the average function. Add up the total number of cells in the range, divide by the total number of cells that are used within that range. 2 very useful functions that take us on from the average function is the ability to work out the highest value in the range and the lowest value in the range. So over here, we want to work out the highest value between all the shops for Monday. Well, the highest value function is actually max. So we say equals max, open brackets. Notice that Excel likes max, and in fact all of the functions in uppercase, but you can type them in lowercase and it will change them to uppercase for you. Once you've opened the brackets, we can then highlight our desired range. So from shop 1 to shop 8 for Monday, and return. And it tells me the biggest value is 14,000. We do exactly the same for the lowest. Logically, it's opposite of max, so it is min, open brackets, and we highlight again from shop 1 to shop 8 and return. And the lowest value is 0. We know that from shop 8. And we want to copy both of these formulas down so we can select both cells using the white cross, and then the little fill handle in the corner. If we give that a double click, you see it copies them all the way down to match up with the lowest cell on the left here. That's way too far for us. We really want to stop at Sunday. So let's undo and do the manual drag. And then it works out the max value for each day of the week and the min value for each day of the week. So the highest and the lowest. We can do exactly the same for each shop against its own day sales so that it can work out the highest sales that shop has had and the lowest sales that shop has had. So it's equals max. Don't forget the open brackets. And we highlight the values for shop 1 from Monday to Sunday. Return. We do the same for min. all the way to Sunday and return. And we can see that for shop 1, 45,000 is its highest day sales this week, which was actually Saturday, and its lowest is 12,500, which is Tuesday. We then highlight highest and lowest, take the little fill handle and drag to the right. So it does exactly the same functions, copies and pastes each function all the way along so that it can work out the highest and lowest value for each shop. So shop 5, for example, you can see there that it's copied the formula across quite happily. So it's now looking at the right values to give us 17,800 as the highest day sales for shop 5 and 4,000 for the lowest day sales for shop 5. So that's 3 new functions to add in to your sum function to help build your Excel mathematical function base.